So resume. We are now officially recording. So welcome to Monday, April, I think 15th, not quite sure. But today's practice is going to be on creativity and transformation. And if you got my email blast from subscribing to my website, it's called Metamorphosis on that. So let's begin there. So come into child's pose, please. So relax, come into child's pose. And if you want to find some freedom in child's pose, that's okay too. You know, moving your hips, your arms, just relax. Send your hips down towards your heels. Decide if you're comfortable, if the location of your phone or device you're listening to is appropriate distance or not. Make all of those adjustments now so that you can truly come into stillness in child's pose. And just allow yourself to be. Don't fix anything. Don't worry about being perfect. Just be as you are. Good. So I'm going to propose a question. Do you think that you are a creative person? And how do you find creativity flowing through you right now in this moment? Do you feel like you are a creative person, and do you allow it to flow through you? And then maybe how has it changed now since we are home, practicing from home, working from home, living daily? Creativity, maybe it's more so or maybe it's less. Just kind of play with that thought in your mind. And then begin to sink some breath into this. Some conscious slow inhales and conscious slow exhales. How do you define creativity? And then do you follow through with your creative ideas? And all of this creativity, it kind of lives in our second chakra, which is basically at the sacrum, right? So we're in child's pose and we're really bringing some opening through the sacrum. So now take some deep breaths and feel this opening now physically at the sacrum. So first it's an energetic arrival into the creative space, and then it's a physical arrival into the creative space. So please walk your arms to the left corner of your yoga mat and just feel the opening now through the right side of your sacrum. And find some conscious deep breath into the right side of your sacrum. And not only is your creativeness here, but also your power to create. The power to create where you are right now with our circumstances. And this is really important, not to lose your power, especially now, your individual power. Okay, so just think about that for a moment. What does that mean to you? Let that subconsciously just land wherever it's meant to land in your sacrum. And then move it over to the other corner of your mat with your arms, nice and slow. And allow that to land. First subconsciously, then consciously, and then physically. And these are the layers in which we work with through yoga, right? We plant these seeds, we breathe into them, which is like watering them. And then they begin to manifest physically. So we're going to nurture this second sacrum, or second chakra, which is in the sacrum, which is our creativity and our power, and nurture it in a way to heal. So according to some spiritualists and healing people, shamans, and really a lot of religious beliefs too, they believe that disease starts, right, in emotions, subconscious things, and then they physically manifest. So we're going to tune into this power within us and manifest things in a way that create a sense of creativity, transformation, metamorphosis, and through yoga poses, releasing things that may be stuck and maybe even unknown to you. Come back to regular child's pose. And then bring your hands to your heels. Bring your hands to your heels. And then I'd like you to tuck your head in so that your top of your head is on the ground. If your neck allows, you're on the crown of your head, holding on to your heels. And we're going to go through something called rabbit pose. I'd like you to lift up your hips and just feel a big opening through the upper back now, your thoracic spine. And take a few breaths here just to stretch out the upper back. And then take a deep breath to find the width of the spine, what lies here. Inhale and exhale. And then gently release the hips back down. Bring your hands under your shoulders and push yourself up to tabletop. Good. And then cross your ankles and come to seated on your tush. Okay, and I'd like you to bring your hands to your knees. Close your eyes. Roll your shoulders back and down your spine to just frame about what we're going to begin here. Frame this practice. Sitting up tall, feeling your sacrum lengthening from the tailbone up into the mid-back, high back, cervical spine, and out through the crown of your head. Just feel yourself in deep connection with gaining insight. First subconsciously, then maybe consciously, and then physically. Good. Okay, and then let's begin to open up that creative door. Go ahead and circle your torso over your hips. Let's go clockwise. Let's do like 3 or 4 of these. And just really begin to churn. This is it is a yoga word, the churning here of the sacrum, of the creative juices, of the individual power. And so we're so used to getting our power from the first chakra, and then please go the other direction, going counterclockwise, but use your breath and go slow, go mindfully. And we usually get our power right from external, from our jobs, from money, you know, all of these weird, not weird, but not something we're born of, right? They just kind of manifest because that's the way in which we live. Okay, and then come back through center. And then just reach the hands over your head. And just stay there for a second. Almost lifting your awareness a little bit higher, directing your energy upward through the fingertips, maybe even coming into a mudra with your index fingers pointed up. And then your tailbone rooting down. So originally, you know, we start with this manifestation of belonging in our families, in our first chakra. We learn that we can almost manipulate our families as a child, right, to get away with things, but we seek power externally. And then we come to times like this, and we have to seek our power internally in the second chakra to see how can we really help ourselves stay in the most clear and present mode, to be creative and to be successful as things around us change and the new normal isn't what we've been used to. Release the left hand to the right knee and bring the right hand on the right hip and just a gentle twist. And it says, inhale, imagine these feelings, these manifestations rising. Stay very aware of what you feel though at the tailbone reproductive area. This is our life force. Good. And then coming back, recenter, and then over to the other side. Right hand to the left knee, left hand behind your hip and turn. Stay soft through the shoulders and just stay aware. Stay aware in the bowl of your seat. And then come back to center. Okay, and then send your legs out in front of you. Staff pose. And then I want you to bring your legs together so your inner thighs touch. And I want you to kind of lean into your seat and just sit up tall here. And then there's this inner line from the really the inside of the foot through the thighs and comes up into the second chakra. I want you to focus there. And maybe close your eyes and just see what you see, feel what you feel. Are you comfortable like this, focusing on that creative place, that reproductive place, that even sexual, sacred space? And then I would like you to cross the right leg over the left leg. Lift up the arms, inhale. And then exhale and fold over. The arch just have to do something behind the left leg. And then maybe notice if the muscles in the pelvic region are turning on or off or twitching, whatever it is. But with the legs crossed, you're in a very protective area. You're protecting your sacred power. Let's say it that way. And just find a few breaths. Good. Okay, and then immediately rise, diamond pose, and open it up. So nothing crazy, just enough to the bottom of the feet to connect, push down through the sit bones, sit up tall. Your hands are rested. And see if you can hold yourself with a lot of neutral space. No contracting of any muscles, just release. Inhale and exhale. Receive and give. One more. And then extend the legs all the way out. Sit bones down, spine up, crown of the head up. And then left leg crosses over the right leg. Inhale, arms go up, lengthen through the spine. And exhale and hinge. Hinge and close your eyes. If your hands don't wrap around your feet like mine do, that's okay. Totally fine, wherever they go. But just notice what you feel like when you cross your body in such a way. And you lengthen and then you fold to go in. Just see what you feel. Be creative. And then diamond pose or cobbler pose, right? Bottom of the feet together, sit up tall. Again, inhale to receive. Exhale to give. 2 more breaths, just like that. Inhale. Legs extend. Cross the right leg over the left leg again. But then I want you to create a space, right? So that your right knee is on top of your left knee. So for some of you, that's where it's going to stay. And then if you've got more space, I want you to cross the legs with the right knee on top. And the legs become horizontal to the top of the mat. And we're just going a little deeper through the hips and a little bit more of holding your power through this muscular area of the pelvic. So hold on to your ankles and sit up tall. And see now if you shift forward and back, what sensations, it's kind of like rocking on your hips, what sensations you find, and then find the one that's most comfortable for you. Sit up tall and just soften through the shoulders. And come through a few breaths. Enter into your own space. Good, and then go ahead and lift the left arm up to the sky and reach over to the right. Just stretching now through the left side of your body. Maybe the right hand binds at the right big toe. Maybe you can increase your sense of strength through the pelvic muscles. And then continue to reach and see where you go and what sensation it brings into the left hip, to the right hip. Just feel. And then inhale to lengthen again. Exhale, bring the left fingers between the scapula and bring the right hand to the left elbow. And just stretch it out. Press the head, the back of the head into the top of the left elbow. And I want you to feel your ribs now turning on. I want them to kind of hug towards the middle of the body. And just feed yourself with breath. Good. And then if you're still okay, you can bring that left arm across the chest, hook it into the right elbow, and come into cow face arms. You're going to take the right hand and grab the left wrist, lift the elbows up. Okay, just be gentle, make space, allow for what your hips can do today. And then on your inhale, receive and lift the elbows up, lift your gaze up towards the wrists. And on your exhale, hinge down, elbows to the right knee, and release your head. How can you physically affect what your body is feeling here? Play with these muscles within the body and give them the attention that they crave now. Inhale, lift the elbows up. Exhale, release your bind and bring the hands down to the floor. Diamond pose. Undo that, bottom of the feet together, and just hold space. Take 3 breaths. Not rushing anywhere, just settle into the bones. Settle into your space, settle into your creative space. Legs out in front, staff pose. Find your bones. Big feet together, big toes together. Left ankle over the right ankle. Left knee over the right knee. And then bend. Find the space in which you feel comfortable in. Again, it's going to be different on each side. So one hip might be higher than the other one felt. Just kind of go through it and see what you find. Find your space, sitting up tall. Is the left side of you talking to you more than the right side was? Just feel it. And so there's this constant churning energy that kind of winds, right? That goes up as you practice yoga, and things become more clear as you bring your body into different focuses. So that's what I really want you to play with here. And then bring your right arm up, inhale. And then reach over to the left. And there's no rush, right? Just find your way. And then maybe you stretch a little deeper, just finding what the body wants. Feed it with breath. Maybe flex your toes. And then inhale the right arm up and bring the fingertips between the scapula. Sit up tall. Adjust yourself and then push the head into the right elbow. And then left hand to the top of the right elbow and just guide it down through center. Imagine the right forearm is right in the middle of the head. That's where you're physically trying to feel this. And your chin is lifted up, but then pulled in as well. And then notice how that changes things when you pull the chin in. It demands even more attention, more consciousness. And then moving forward, bring the right arm across the chest. Bring the right arm or elbow into the left elbow crease. And then cow face arms, right palm in front of the face, and bind those arms. So if you notice now, the arms and the legs are in a similar position, right? So you're bound tightly in, and you're in a deeply inward position, which means everything is coming to the midline, which is very, very healing when you come to midline. So allow this healing, creative healing to happen. Inhale, lift the elbows up, bring the gaze up, to keep the shoulders soft. And then exhale, bow down to yourself. Knees and elbows may touch, and just feel the sensation through your hips. Deep healing occurring here. Believe it and feel it. That you have this power within you to truly change, to transition from pose to pose, touching all these subtle energies in the body. Good, then inhale and lift. Release the arms, grab your big toes, sit up tall. Breathe. And then bow down to yourself again. Just feel whatever it is you feel. Lift back up, diamond pose, undo that, big release here. And then legs out in front. So there's lots of stored tension that stays in the hips. I hope you're feeling that just melt, and it's continue to melt. First it starts physical, right? And then it goes into subtle layers. Okay, go ahead and swing the legs to the right. And make like a 90-degree angle, the best that you can with this right leg. And then make a 90-degree angle with the left leg. And so you're trying to get your right hip on the ground. If it doesn't go down like mine doesn't, just be aware that you're not going too far so that you don't injure yourself. Okay, and then both hands to the left shin, just sit up tall-ish. And then begin to hinge forward with a straight spine, so no dumping into the lower back, right? We're trying to feed the lower back instead of just pounding ourselves. We're trying to feed ourselves. Walk the hands forward. And stop just when you start to feel a physical sensation. Pull the chin in towards the rope, but not looking down, kind of like you're making a double chin. And just discover what happens in the belly. First, you feel it in the hips, but then it shifts, if you allow it, elsewhere. Maybe your elbows want to come down now. Just follow your way. Create your own path. And then maybe you want to continue into full pigeon. That's up to you. If you'd like to go into full pigeon for 5 more breaths, the right leg just continues to extend behind you. And the left hip comes to the floor. And your head is in. But your strength and your awareness still stays ever so present, even though you're lengthening out and away from center, right? The right leg is going away from you, but stay maintained in awareness in the middle of what's happening. 3 more breaths. And then if you're in full pigeon, make your way back up into that 90-90 legs. Lift the spine back up. And then I want you to bring the right leg in connection, the inner thigh, to the left foot. So the left foot is touching the right inner thigh. You're pretty open still, right? Bring your hands beside your hips. Feel yourself strong and long. And then reach up with the left arm again. Reach over to the right and kind of hold your right hand down to the floor like a kickstand, just to support yourself, because you also want to push down through the left hip. And then once you feel something happening here, then allow yourself to possibly come deeper by bringing the right hand towards the right foot, and then the left hand over the head deeper and looking under the left armpit. And you can still go down deeper, maybe the left hand finds the big toe, whatever you feel in your body today. Just begin to uncover fascia, right, which is that connective tissue that holds the muscles in place. You can really play with the fascia here, and fascia holds memory, just like water does. So bring some breath, and I want you to see as it becomes harder to breathe as you become, so that the breath stays consistent. Inhale, lift the left arm. Bring the right hand to the left knee and twist. Left hand plants behind your hip. Just give yourself a neutral twist, release it all. Good. Okay, come back to neutral. Diamond pose. Maybe walk your hips a little closer towards your heels. The body will naturally do what's supposed to come next. It's interesting. If you start to pay attention before I even say my cues, you'll feel what's next. It's very cyclical, right? It just happens. Okay, legs on in front. Sit up tall. Feel the release. And then 90-90 to the left. So the right leg becomes 90, the left leg becomes 90 degrees. And then again, first just find posture. So a lot of people, they kind of dump, right? This right side of the body kind of just gets a little not energetic. So lengthen and feel energetic. And then when you're ready, you begin to hinge forward. And you listen to your own body. You be your own remover of obstacles, of the static. Feel your tailbone beginning to tuck in and under, which is a good thing. And then keep going and stop when the body says, okay, I'm happy here. I'm going to come down to my elbows and try to maintain that nice long line. Soften through the face. And if the body wants more, you lengthen the left leg out, full pigeon. Left leg internally rotates while the right hip is externally rotated. And I need to come up because I'm a little tighter on this side, and I need to use my hands to kind of help me stay grounded. But you can come all the way down if you feel that this is time for you, that's okay. And again, 4 to 5 breaths. Good. And then gently bring that left leg back forward. Left leg or inner thigh connects to the right foot. Sit up tall to start. Feel that subtle energy connecting deeper with the ground. It's a very grounding practice if you haven't noticed. And now we're going to bring the left hand slightly forward towards the knee and lift the right arm up. So stretching through the thoracic, through the ribs, the upper back, the shoulders, and then reach across. And begin to maybe even gaze towards the right arm. Pause for a second until you find your breath. So this is where the breath starts to try to become erratic because it's like, what's happening? This isn't how I normally move. So try to stay rhythmic in it as you continue to reach, maybe to the left big toe. It's up to you. I'm not quite there yet this morning. And then begin to also feel the right rib cage wanting to lift up. There's this sense of failing to hold or breathe that happens when you begin to open up. It's very vulnerable, right? 2 more breaths. Good, and on the third, inhale the right arm up. Right hand behind your right hip on the ground, left hand to the right knee, and then twist, neutralize it all. And realign. Realign to that space we've been speaking of, that second chakra. And then return back to the middle. Diamond legs, find your way. Staff pose, legs out in front. Good. And then straddle. So legs come out comfortably wide. Okay, so I don't want you to lean forward or back just yet, just find middle. And although the legs are parted away, it sometimes creates a little bit of uncomfortableness, right? So I want you to see if you can press down through the legs and create a sensation through your hips and then through the navel, right below the belly button, and see if you can still hold power. Okay, and I'd like you to lift the arms up like a V, hold here. Hold power, hold strength in the pelvic. And then once you feel strong enough, exhale and hinge and grab the big toes. And stay up though, still like a V. You've got this beautiful little linear V forward fold thing going on, and the arms are straight. And then lengthen without dumping into the spine, right? So I want your back straight and lengthen the crown of the head forward. And almost pull your legs deeper in your hip sockets. Hold here. There's this great lock that's happening when you squeeze your big toes with your peace fingers. There's an energetic lock that demands attention at the center of your body here. So feel that, feed that. Regain that power to create, to evolve from what you think is not possible into possible. And then inhale, lifting. Swing the legs behind you and come into tabletop. Okay, and then I just want you to circle the hips. Just let a little bit of that go. Circle the hips any way that you want, left, right. Just make some space. Good. Okay, and then shift back into that child's pose. The knees maybe a little bit wider this time. And allow yourself to elongate forward, palms flat on the ground. But I'd like your arms energetic this time, which means your elbows are lifted. Your arms are straight, your palms are planted. Keep your gaze down, and on your inhale, lift up your chest. And on your exhale, lower your chest. On your inhale, lift your chest. Exhale. One more. And then bring the hands under the shoulders. Push yourself up and come to seated on the heels. So for some of you, this is going to be too much. So you could put maybe a block underneath you. We're not going to stay long, or just come to your butt. Okay, just feel what that did to that belt area. That belt that we're trying to tighten. Or remember, more so I would say, that returning back to home, that strength. Good. Okay, and then bring the right arm up and bring the right fingers between the scapula. Bring that elbow behind the middle of the head, and then this time bring the left hand to your lower back and walk the fingers towards one another. Maybe you bind at the back of your spine, or you need to use a strap or a towel. And then I want you to notice what you do here. Are your ribs popping out? Bring them in. Adjust first through the inner thighs, then that first chakra, then that pelvic chakra, that mid area, right? Our strength, our power, our individual power, and assist yourself straight back, and then find 3 breaths. Slow down. Good. Release the bind. Bring the fingertips down. Hands to the floor, tabletop. Undo that. Move the hips. Release it. Good. And then come back, wide child's pose. Arms in front, elbows up. Close your eyes and sense what's happening. Inhale, the chest comes up. Exhale, it comes down. Inhale, receive. Stoke. Exhale, release. One more inhale. And let go. Come to seated on the heels or the butt, depending on where you're at today. Okay, hands by the floor. Just notice what's happening. Some shifting, definitely energetically. And then left arm goes up, and repeat what we did on the other side. So make your way, and you'll see right away, I dump, right? If you're looking at me, I'm trying to correct that. I'm trying to keep myself strong through this center lower navel area and restore balance of internal and external awareness. And then find your cadence of breath. Good. Gently release. Unbind. Left fingertips down, right fingertips down. Roll the shoulders back and down. Okay, hands plant down to the floor. Tuck your toes in. Scoop your belly in, okay? And slowly transition into downward dog. So hips go up nice and high. We're protecting the middle of our body, right? We're keeping that strength there. And then the legs extend straight-ish as the heels reach to the floor. And then something interesting happens here, right? We kind of lose the awareness in the legs. So let's reawaken the strength of the legs. Turn on the muscles of the front of the legs by lifting the kneecaps up. And then lift your tailbone even higher. Lift your sacrum even higher. Lift your sacred creative center even higher. As you begin to morph this into stronger postures, keep that intention of internal strength versus pleasing the eye. With the strength of the inner thighs, lift the right leg slowly up into the sky. Keep that awareness in the middle. And then place that right knee towards the center of the chest as you shift the weight forward. Protect the middle. And then the right foot comes flat down to the ground. The left knee slowly releases down. And the toes untuck. Good. Lengthen the spine. Protect the middle. Protect the core of you. Good. Bring the left palm flat. Lift the right arm up. Keep squeezing the inner thigh. Towards the navel. And then place the right hand down. Slowly make your way into downward dog. And strengthen through the inner thighs. Good. Okay, again, lift the tailbone. Lift the left leg up to the sky. Bring the left knee into the chest, protect the center, and foot flat to the ground. Right knee releases. Right hand flat, left arm opens. We turn and churn and create this awareness, right? Left palm flat, downward dog, transition. One more round of breath. And then shift forward into a plank pose and really zip up through midline. Really hold here, push the ground away from you, resisting gravity. If this is too much, the knees can come down, otherwise 3 more rounds of breath. Inner thighs squeezing together. And then slowly lower down, completely with the lower back protected, right? So the lower belly and the chest touch the ground at the same time. Untuck the toes. Inhale through the tailbone, then up the mid-spine. Cobra. And then shift back, child's pose. Any version of child's pose that feels natural to you. Having little glimpses maybe of something deeper within you now. So in some practices they call this spirit, others it calls just higher consciousness or samadhi, whatever it is. Call it to yourself. You name it, you feel it, you experience it. Make your way, downward dog. Remember that midline, that protection. Inhale, the right leg comes up to the sky. The right knee shifts to the middle. Deep awareness, foot flat. This time keep the left knee lifted. Lengthen the spine. Stay here with your breath. You're doing good, just like that. Your gaze is down at the big toe. Squeeze your ribs together. Looking good. Good. Bring the left heel down, please. Straighten the right leg. The left toe is turned out to 90 degrees. Hug this right hip towards the left heel and bow down towards the right leg. Not completely unless you're ready, just enough. Then take that right hand to the right big toe and pinch it. Bring the left hand to the hip and turn open left rib cage. Stay here. Push through the earth with the left foot to lift higher through the left hip. Good. And then extend that hand on your hip up to the sky. All the way up. Good. Keep pushing through the left foot. Good. And then pull in from midline and then see, how is your breath doing? Can you continue to nurture that creativity with ease of flow as you begin to open up the left rib cage towards the ceiling? Turn. Keep zipping up through the pelvic. And then maybe bring the left hand to your lower back. Maybe grab the right inner thigh with the left hand. Keep here. And then if there's a bind in your practice, the right hand would bind outside the right hip, both legs straight, and keep pushing through the left pinky side of the foot and the right pinky side of the foot. 3 more breaths. Meet yourself where you are. Success doesn't happen with ease, right? You have to work for it. Good. Right hand to the right big toe, left hand to the hip. Left hand to the ground beside the right foot. Flip the left heel, lunge into the right knee, and step forward with the left leg. Soften your knees a lot, please, and rest your head down. Okay, pull in through the inner thighs to lift the tailbone nice and high here. Lift the chest up slightly. Exhale, fold over. Bend the knees a lot now. Inhale, chair pose with a connection at your inner thighs. Tuck your tailbone in this chair pose. Tuck in and under. And then forward fold. Step back, downward dog. Okay, so think of the big toes, the inner thighs. Tailbone. Protect the belly, hug the ribs in. Neck is soft. Arms hug to the middle, support yourself. Left leg goes up to the sky. Transition, left foot flat between the hands. Lengthen, stay here. Support your neck. So if you're looking up, right, towards the camera, even though I'm not changing, you're dumping into the cervical spine, which makes you dump into your lower back. Okay, so when the neck neutralizes, the lower back neutralizes, and you play in this connective line, right? So feel that. Then bring the right heel down so that the right toes are at 90-ish. Bring the left hand to the left big toe. Straighten the left leg and just a gentle bow down to the left knee. Straighten-ish, it all depends on your body. Harness from the inner thigh, right hand to the hip. Then become that open book, but protect the core, right? The binding in the middle, and turn the right rib cage up. Make sure that the shoulder is coming with you. You don't want to keep that shoulder down. You want to open up the full page. And then lengthen through the sides of the body while also pulling the crown of the head forward. So there's a deep crease in this left hip as you bring the head forward. Good. And then if you're stable, pushing into the right foot. Straight line through the right ribs and the left skin of the waist. Lift the right arm up. Keep turning the right rib cage open. Keep pulling from the inner thighs. Feeling safe together and safe as an individual in the group. Right hand, lower back. Left hand to the front of the left thigh, bind in your triangle. Left leg stays straight-ish. Keep that right shoulder going back. Left hip towards the right heel. Lift through the arches of the feet. Turn on that mid-belly. Release the bind. Left hand to the big toe, right hand to the hip. Right hand up, moving very methodically, right? Right hand to the floor. Left hand to the floor. Bend and lunge through the left knee. Find that long line, lower back, the neck. And then we're going to that big step forward. And let it all go with deep bent knees. Let it go, fold over. Pour over your legs. Plant the fingertips or palms flat. Bring your big toes to touch and open your heels slightly. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, all the way down. Tailbone high. Inhale, up to chair pose, tucking the tailbone in. So it's like this curving under of the tail. Bringing this deep awareness, right? Right to where this practice is focused. Close your eyes, and I want you to stay here for 5 breaths, if it's okay. Exhale through the middle of the heart. Forward fold down. Halfway up, we inhale. All the way back to plank, we exhale. To chaturanga, we continue to exhale to the floor. And then we inhale, we peel up and off of the ground and make our way to child's pose. Shift back. Good. And then lift it up to tabletop. Cross your ankles and come to seated right on the floor. Cross your knees. Close your eyes and just feel. Allow your experience to evolve and awareness to change. And then transition. More breath. Stack pose. And then hands down flat behind your hips. Roll shoulders back and down. And pull the muscles of the navel towards the spine. Hug the ribs towards one another. And then send your heart up. Your shoulders together. And then your gaze up. And then begin to point the toes forward and lift it to an upside down plank. 5 breaths. Inner thighs working hard. Slowly transition, hips down. Diamond pose. Hands to the knees. And staff pose. Hands behind you again, flat. Fingertips point forward. Squeeze your inner thighs. Pull energy up from the pelvic. Lean back just slightly and lift the heels. Really feel a pulling inward of your thighs. If you're okay here, reach the arms up to frame the thighs and continue to lift through the crown of the head. Toes something, either away from you, towards you, whatever feels legitimate. And then inhale, lift the chest up towards the legs towards the chest. Bind at the big toes, lift up really tall. Ooh. My body is trembling. Heart space high, roll a little bit more towards the tailbone. Transition out of this the same way you got into it. Release the toes, begin to lean back, heels hover. Hands flat to the floor behind your butt, heels down, upside down plank. Two more breaths. And then hips down. Last diamond pose. Last staff pose. And then soften through the knees and lower down to your back. Nice and slow. Okay, lift the legs straight up to the sky, please. Grab onto the back of your thighs, but soften at the shoulders to frame the back. And then feel your ribs. You know what we're trying to feel here. So turn on your pelvic muscles. Internally rotate through the thighs using your hands. And if you'd like to continue to shoulder stand, bring the hands or the arms down flat and lift up and away from the ground. Walk the elbows towards one another, towards upper back, and bring the collarbones to the chin. Deep connection here. Internally rotate the thighs, and then the toes are right over the head. So it's a big staff, right? You can stay here or release the arms forward to the mat and challenge the center line we've created. Two more breaths. Hands back to mid-spine. Support your landing, bend the knees. Heels to the glutes. And then knees towards the ears. Knees towards the ears. Bring the knees together. One leg lifts, the other lifts. And bend the knees again. And transition slowly flat to the ground. Allow your feet to separate as wide as your mat. And then graciously allow the knees to fall to the right. And turn your awareness deeper inward. Allow your head to slowly look to the left if that's okay. And allow the body to let go. Finding a deep connection to the innermost layers of what we really feel we need more of, and receiving it right now. Enable it. Enable it as a doorway, because it's your given right to receive it and to feel it. And then switching sides, please. Head comes up first. Knees come up. Nurture that sacrum. And then knees to the left. Head to the right, if that's okay for you. And then re-nurture. And stay there for about 6 to 10 breaths. Feeling the anatomy of your body. Drawing from your experience to call back your power, your strength, and your creativity. And your life force. Call it back to your body. Then please allow yourself to transition to Shavasana, final resting corpse pose. If you've got a towel you'd like to cover your eyes with, please go ahead and do that. But allow one leg to come down, then the other. And allow your eyes to close. Allow your heart to lift. Allow your sacrum to rest. And allow the energy to just flow. Allow your creativity to just flow. Allowing for all the stages of your practice to emerge now. So I'm going to end this with a story today from that book I was telling you about, The Anatomy of the Spirit. And it speaks of how a man got lost along his way and lost his power. But then with the help of his tribe in his first chakra, he was able to rediscover his power and his spirit by coming back to his birthright. So this was a Navajo Indian man. And he left his tribe at a young age. I think it was 12 or 13, and he fell to alcoholism. So he felt outcasted and left on his own. He then got a job on a boat and learned the craft in order to support himself of working on a boat with many people, and found himself a new tribe. And he worked and he found his way through it. And he picked up a new skill of art. And they ported one time on their travels in China, and he began to draw this wall that China had built to protect them from enemies' way. So he drew these walls, and the military found out that he had images of this wall drawn, and so they recruited him into the military, the American military, because they wanted to see what he had captured, the drawings he had made. And obviously this was before pictures were available. So he started to work for the military and became a spy for the American government. But unfortunately, he got captured. So he got captured and became brutally beaten. They actually nailed his feet to the floor. And they tortured him, and they forced him to stand on his nailed feet to the floor for days at a time, with the most excruciating pain he's ever experienced in his life through all of his torments. And they beat him, but he didn't emerge. He didn't allow them to know anything, so they continue to do so. And then finally, they sent him into a German Nazi camp to be finally killed off. And there's one part of the story I omitted. When he was working on his boat, when he first learned and picked up the skill of art, he made friends with a German who was his age, and they kind of created a bond, and they helped each other along the way. So when he was in this camp, this German Nazi camp, he was at his turn to be put into the death chambers, and he felt a rifle at his back. And he turned to see who the rifle's arms were holding, and it was that German friend that he had made on the boat when he was a teenager, and this is 20, 30 years later. And he said to him, "Move quickly, come this way." So he followed his German friends, for they quickly rediscovered who they each were, and he took him away from the torture chambers of the Nazi camp, and he brought him away to heal. So the Indian, grateful but very weak, fell into a coma, although he was saved by the German friend. He fell into a coma for 2.5 years. And when he finally awoke, he had realized he had lost all of his sense of walking. He could no longer walk. He could not any longer hold up his own body weight, although that the German friend tried to help him. The Americans caught wind and saved him. They brought him back to America to heal and to thank him for sacrificing himself, his life, his power, tortured and comatose for 2.5 years. And they brought him in to help him to heal and to finally spend his days at rest in a military camp in America. So the Indian made his way to the camp, but he said, you know, I'd like to do one more thing before I rest peacefully my last years. I'd like to revisit my tribe in which I came to earth from and say goodbye. So they honored his wish and they brought him back to his tribe. And the tribe couldn't believe their eyes. He couldn't walk. He was being held up by others, by crutches, wheeled across however he could, but he couldn't do it on his own. He lost everything, all of his power. So they circled around him and they chanted and they prayed and they said to him, Kevin, his name was, Kevin, you have lost your spirit. You have lost your spirit in which you came to this earth with, and we want to will it back into you, but you must find it on your own, and you will find it now. We're going to throw you in the water, and in order for you to survive, you need to surface on your own, or you will die there. The choice is yours. So the tribe threw him in the river, and he fought his way, and he felt as if he was going to die. He felt the most miserable pain that he had felt, even worse than when the nails were drawn through his feet. But he emerged. He let go of all of his fear. He let go of all of his hate. He let go of all of the faces of the Nazis that had tortured him. And he rose up from the river, came out of it, crawled out of the river, and regained his strength, regained his ability to walk again, found his spirit again by releasing all of the anger and finding his power again. This is a true story. He spent the rest of his days with his tribe as a shaman, a minister, and a healer for the rest of his days, much longer than he had ever hoped for before that ritual. So although the times may seem grim, and although they may seem like you've lost your way, rely on your own power, come back to yourself, come back to your tribe, and welcome back in that creativity and that strength. Just like the Navajo Indian did. Your energy does help you through turbulent times. So bring some movement to your body. Feel that energy awakened through your second chakra. Come all the way back up to seated. Rest your hands at your belly button. Maybe just hold a sacred bowl there right beneath your navel. See and feel and reclaim all of that energetic space that power your spirit. Take a few inhales here in strength. Feeling recharged and within your own creativity again and what it means to you now. Hands to your heart centers. May we all find that creative flow again. Stay in it. We are in it. Namaste. Thank you for practicing with me on this beautiful Monday.